If you want to save time and still get accurate results, then partner with 4 Pillars Research, proud sponsors of PI Perspectives. We specialize in uncovering insurance policies that can make or break your case. From identifying unknown policies to uncovering accurate policy information, we streamline the process so you can focus on your case. Partner with 4 Pillars Research and unlock the full potential of your investigations. Visit researchfpr.com to learn more.
Looking for an insurance agent that puts you first? Every PI business is different. That's why OREP Insurance can shop multiple markets to ensure you get the best coverage to meet your unique business needs. OREP's model is business by the golden rule, and for over 20 years, they've built their business by putting their clients first. So come enjoy a fast online application and same-day certificates of insurance at OREP.org. OREP has coverage for armed investigators, executive protection, and even has a separate policy for security firms. The application takes less than 5 minutes, so visit OREP.org today. OREP.org.
We're proud to announce a partnership with InvestigatorConference.com. This free site tracks all the live events in the industry. Want to plan out your travel schedule to see what events are happening in the next few months? Are you hosting an event? Send them an email to add the date. Visit the site today. That's investigator-conference.com. Investigator-conference.com.
Welcome to the newest episode of PI Perspectives. Today we speak with Montana private investigator Michael Toth. Michael worked in law enforcement, and when he retired, he became a private investigator. He resides in Montana, and Michael began a journey to start a state association for private investigators, and this episode covers how he made that a reality. Michael is a founding member of MTally. Make sure you check out the website and consider joining. Any new MTally member will have a chance to join Investigators Toolbox for free through September 1st. Let's jump into the episode. Please welcome Michael Toth and New York PI Matt Spare.
And welcome, everyone, to the next episode of PI Perspectives. This is Matt Sperry, your host. We got an interesting story today, and I love it because it's somebody who saw something that wasn't right or saw something that was lacking, and instead of waiting for other people to do it, he said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I knew him before he started his journey here professionally, and I've kind of seen him along the way. So Michael Toth, I want to welcome you to the program. How are you?
Good. Thank you. And thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we probably met online several years ago.
Yeah.
I think you're one of the guys that just like shoots a question over about something, right? So
Yep.
Obviously I'm everywhere, LinkedIn, online, whatever. And I think you just had some questions on how to do things, how to get started and all that. And that's how we came to know each other. So you're in Billings, Montana. Elite Investigations is your company. And why don't you tell folks who you are, what you do, and how you got into the business?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so I am with Elite Investigations here in Billings, Montana, and was in law enforcement 20 some years roughly. I started as a reserve deputy in the sheriff's office. Then I went to college for a little bit, put myself through the police academy here in Montana. Back in the day, you had the option of paying your own way through the police academy if you were accepted. And then was hired as a deputy in a small county on the west side of the state. And then from there, I went to Seattle Police Department, which was a huge difference going from a 7-man department to a 1,300-man department or personnel department. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, that was an eye opener over there. Worked over there for a while, then went to a suburb of Seattle, was hiring a bunch of us officers out of Seattle. And I went and became a detective for them, major case property crimes unit, and then left and came back to Montana. I didn't like the Seattle that much, so I came back in 2010, started the PI business.
Wow. So
Um,
it's 2010, huh?
yeah, 2010. And then in 2020, during the pandemic or whatever, the sheriff of the sheriff's office that I started as a deputy, Mineral County, the sheriff there quit, walked out midterm. And I knew a couple of commissioners. So they called me up and they knew about my experience and all that from Seattle and that. And they offered me to fill in as sheriff for the next 2.5 years to finish out his term.
Yeah.
And I couldn't turn that away. I mean, say you're a sheriff in Montana, that's the ultimate law enforcement, especially in the state of Montana, to be the sheriff of a county.
Yeah.
So ran a 20 personnel department with the jail and dispatch and patrol
Yeah.
and turned it around and actually improved it. And then after the 2.5 years, I was done with the politics and wanted to get back to working for myself again because that's can't
Wow.
beat that.
So I just immediately think of Longmire when you
Yeah,
sheriff's
it
office.
was like that in a sense. Not as many murders though,
Yeah,
but
yeah, seriously.
yeah. I mean, they have a murder every week in that place, but yeah,
Yeah.
one of my favorite shows.
Oh, it was a great show. I was obsessed with it for so many years, man. And yeah, I was pretty bummed when it was done.
I just met one of their there's a guy that lives in Miles City, Montana, that it was a bodyguard or executive security for them
Yeah,
whenever they would come in and do the filming.
yeah,
And so that was kind of neat hearing some of his stories. So
yeah, yeah. That's great. I mean, you think about the big country up there and doing work and how you source your work. Talk to
yeah.
me a little bit about that. So it's so spread out. Like I can see desktop investigation maybe is a big thing, but the day-to-day grind of getting out there, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm in Billings, so it's the largest city in Montana, but it's only 130,000 people. And that we think that's like LA, but it's obviously just a neighborhood or
Right.
probably a city block there in New York. But so we stay busy here, but the rest of the state, you're traveling. Like I have a case coming up this weekend. I'm driving 5 hours to go do surveillance, and they're paying me, and I'm going to stay there for. They got to pay me at least to make it worth their while, 2, 3 days.
Right.
So because there's no PIs on the east side of the state, Billings is as close as they get. So I'm driving 4.5 to 5 hours just to set up surveillance on a child custody case.
Wow. That's
And so we're spread out quite a bit here.
Yeah, to give you context, there were probably 1.5 million or 2 million people at the Knicks parade
Yeah.
for the NBA a
Yeah.
week and a half ago.
Yeah. Yeah. No, nothing like that here. It's great. Yeah. I don't even think Montana, well, I know it doesn't even have I wouldn't have close to 1 million people in it at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe with tourists in the summer, but yeah.
I was down there and all that craziness. That was one of those 1.5 million people.
And as long as you didn't take any of those garbage cans, huh?
No, no, I don't want to keep it down. I'm good. I'm good. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's I guess you do see that. And over the years, I've interviewed investigators, from around the country and all different, types of cities and obviously in a situation like that, surveillance, it has to be handled differently, right? You're talking rural, you're talking, sticking out and kind of trying to blend in and with less amount of people, the easier it is for you to stick out, right? So what are
Oh, yeah.
some of the other
And in Montana, for the longest time, our plates were numbered by the city you lived in. So Montana, Billings was what we'd call three counties. So our plates would start with the number three. So
right,
if I went to another county, someone would see that plate and go, why is somebody from Billings, Yellowstone County in our town?
right,
And you would, I mean, so yeah, you got to get creative. Now they jumbled up numbers around.
right,
Um, so it's a little easier, but still people recognize the vehicles, especially our ranchers and our farmers. They
right.
know when somebody's in the area that's not supposed to be in the area.
Yeah, that's
And so it makes it for unique challenges.
yeah, definitely, definitely. We're the thing we're talking about here today is starting an investigator association, which you've been on that journey, but I don't want to get into that just yet, because I want to spend a good amount of time talking about it. Um, but that transition from law enforcement into private practice there, what was that like for you?
It was tough, I think, because I didn't necessarily retire. I just left and wanted to work for myself and came back. And, you know, you, it's different. It's good and bad. You don't have to follow as many rules as the police do.
Right.
You know, they have to get search warrants and all kinds of stuff, and we can kind of get in that gray area. But you know, you lose that camaraderie.
Hmm.
But then it also makes you good because I work with a lot of clients that I can interpret what the police are telling them and help explain to them why certain things are going the way it's supposed to be going or not going the way they think it should be going.
Right. Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So would you find the majority of your clientele are they law firms? Are they private citizens? Like who's hiring you to do work?
My first probably 6, 7 years were mainly private citizens. And it's just probably in the past 6 years or so, right before I left to be sheriff and now after, I'm really concentrating on law firms,
Mhm.
but I still take the civilian work. So,
Yeah, I'm the opposite. Like I try and avoid the civilian work as much as I can,
right,
just because when you're in a huge city like I'm in, like there's just a lot of work
right,
to be done, and I feel like there's a lot less questions working, for an attorney. And again, that's just personal preference for me.
no, if I had my choice, that's all I would do
Yeah.
is work for law firms. Because one, you know, you're going to get paid,
Right.
and they usually don't argue about your you know, pay structure,
Right.
but and the works can be steady, but you know, it's not you have to here we have to take the civilian case every now and then to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, for sure. Do you do a good amount of desktop research too, or is it all pretty much out there in the back?
No, it is a lot of desktop research and reaching out to other places. Like, you know, you take advantage of the investigators toolbox quite a bit, and that's, you know, how I would reach out to you guys and ask you a bunch of questions.
Mhm.
And which is kind of what led into the association, me starting the association, and we can
Right.
get that here soon. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah, it's good. I gotta feel that's a bit difficult to network when everyone's spread out so
right.
far. And I would assume that folks that work in Montana also have licenses in other states, as well, if they're getting around. Do you find that to be the case or not really?
I know there's a couple, but not really. Like I've thought of getting licensed in some other states, but then I've just never really needed it
Hmm.
as much. Because I always try to get the nexus, like, oh, it started in Montana, so I'm following the guy to Arizona, and I just do the job and then get out of there. But I would never advertise there or,
Yeah.
you know, try to take work from somebody in Arizona in a sense.
Yeah, we're gonna have to edit that part out.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. But it the departments of states that you do that in definitely frown upon that. They don't like you doing it, even if you're just transient coming in and out. Uh,
yeah,
so
you know,
it's important to try and line yourself up with somebody in the state. That's
right,
that's what we're gonna say from the airwaves here.
right,
Obviously, you do whatever you need to do to get the job done, but
right,
you know, you don't want
right.
something blowing back on you because you went and got the star information, you got the smoking gun, the silver bullet, and all that other stuff, and now it's not accessible. You can't use it because of the way you obtained it, right?
Yeah, an attorney would jump all over it if there's a big problem with that. And normally we do reach out to other attorneys. Like I'm part of case management system. The
Of cross tracks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're little where you can.
Yeah, the Investigator Alliance. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yep.
Love that. I always find somebody to do something for me.
Yeah, it's funny because I am a part of that and I get calls all the time, and then it's the sticker shock when I tell them how much the hourly is, and
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah.
people aren't used to it.
Right.
In fact, I took a phone call today, and it was somebody who was looking to have things done like throughout the country. It's a bunch of door knocks. I mean, just real easy stuff. It's class action lawsuit, type stuff. And I thought I'd scare them away with my sticker shock and my price, and I threw it out there, and they're like, "Okay, this is not a problem."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Damn it, I should have said more." So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I look at that as, well, I just tell the client, this is what it is.
yeah,
I mean, this is when they want me to go out of state. I don't ever ask for, when I call a PI in another state, I don't ask for the rate, their special rate for helping investigators. What's your rate?
yeah,
Because I'm
exactly.
just going to pay.
Yep.
I don't believe in cutting a rate down because either the client's going to pay it or they're not. And
Yep.
if they want the job done, they're going to pay the rate.
Yeah, for sure. So we've been kind of hinting at what we're going to be talking about here, and that's starting a state association for investigators, and I want to dig into that. So we're going to take a break here. When we come back, I really want to dive in and really get a sense of how that journey started for you and where you are in that journey right now with the association. So everybody, sit tight, and we'll be right back.
Are you enjoying this episode? And are you concerned about the legislation that is affecting our industry? You can attend the next NCISS 50th Anniversary Conference in Nashville, Tennessee from August 20th to the 22nd. Watch a live episode of PI Perspectives get filmed and be a part of the recording. Check out more at nciss.org. Check out the PI Institute of Education at piinstitute.com. Since 1989, Kelly Riddle has been teaching on subjects such as surveillance, nursing home investigations, insurance fraud, domestic investigations, hidden assets, and accident scene investigations. The PI Institute of Education is a featured learning partner in the investigatorstoolbox.com. So check out the free content on the site, then visit the Institute for more great savings on additional classes. Satellite Investigations has launched its new website full of great new content. Matt and his team have released some great informative blogs. Make sure you log in to LinkedIn and follow Satellite Investigations for the latest content. Over the past year, our industry has been the target of foreign governments and agencies that have attempted to recruit unsuspecting investigators to gather intelligence or immediate expatriates. PI Perspectives is teaming up with the Federal Bureau of Investigations to get the word out about this ongoing crisis. If you've been contacted by an individual or company that might seem suspicious, please contact the FBI at tips.fbi.gov. You can also contact the New York field office at 212-384-1000 to report suspicious activity in any state. The link is also in the show notes. Even if you completed a job and it still doesn't sit right with you, you can report this activity. The only way to stop this trend is to work together. So let's do it.
And welcome back to PI Perspectives. This is Matt Sperry, your host. Today, we're talking about how to start a state association. I want to welcome Michael Toth back to the program. Mike, how are you?
Good.
Good. All right. So before we took a break, we teased a little bit about Montana, what it's like to do business in Montana, and what it's like to be a private investigator in Montana. And then obviously we're talking today about what it's like to start a state association for investigators in Montana. So walk me through the genesis of all that, and what was the push to get started with an association?
Well, I'm big on training and learning. And so, as we talked earlier, we're so spread out in Montana. I only knew about 2 or 3 other private investigators in the whole state, and they were actually here in Billings. So, I didn't know anybody else around the state. Montana does have only 218 licensed investigators in the whole state. But um, when you start off on your own, you don't know, am I doing it correctly? I didn't have anybody to lean on.
Right.
So I would join things like the investigator toolbox so I could see how other investigators are doing stuff. I met investigators like yourself, and then Kelly Riddle was a big help. He used me one time up here for a case he had, and then I just kind of latched on to him
Yep.
and started. I decided to start going to some other association meetings and joining other associations. So by doing that, I started networking and talking with Kelly and them. They were suggesting that Montana needed an association.
Right.
And I'm one of those guys where I don't like sitting around where you always hear guys sitting around going, "Oh, we should start one." I just said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And
Right.
I went to an accountant. We started filling out the state paperwork and the federal paperwork for it to make it, totally legit and the banking information and all that. And then started picking out my board. And here we're going.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
the association that I'm a part of in New York, I'm chairman and I'm finishing up my term here after being on the board for God since 2007, I think. So that's been a journey, um, and it's been around since 1950. So it's
Wow.
one of the older ones, right? And don't think because it's older it's better because it's not. It's got it definitely has its challenges, and seeing how boards operate. Um, I've served on a bunch. I currently serving on nationally on the NCISS board and internationally on WAD board as well, not to mention a few boards not even in the industry. Seeing how the makeup of all that and how that all works, and I give you kudos, man. Like trying to put something together and finding like-minded people that are willing to get involved and kind of get it done. um it's heavy lifting for sure, and yeah, very commendable. What was the biggest challenge when you had this idea to get us up and running?
Well, just little things like, the getting the bylaws and getting how are we going to have 5-member board or a 7-member board? Um, learning all that. So the one thing I did learn or that I've realized is that the private investigative community nationwide has been very open and friendly. Um, from Kelly to um, the Florida Association of Licensed Investigator,
Mm-hmm.
their president,
Yep.
he's been nothing but spectacular. I
Yep.
went down there for their conference. He welcomed me into
Yeah.
some of the private meetings with the other presidents of the big three.
Yep.
And I told him, well, since Montana's the fourth biggest state, maybe we can be the
There.
stepbrother of the
Stepchild.
big three. So, um, but yeah, so it's really neat to learn that. And I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. So I've been taking things and everybody's been open, sending me whatever policy or how they do the memberships, how they do their bylaws, how they do their meetings, all that. Instead of us trying to reinvent it, we just take from this and that, and make it so it works for our numbers and get it going. It's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, that's how you do it, right?
Yeah,
Find out what works and just replicate it.
right.
Borrow a little
Exactly.
bit from here, a little bit from there, and make it work.
And
Um,
everyone's been very open about everything. So,
sure, sure, and I'm sure like the 217 people, once they found out about it, right? Because that's the thing too. You got to tell them that you're out there. Um, I don't see why they wouldn't be opposed to join, and
right.
be a part of it.
And I'm really getting into social media the past 3 or 4 years. And when I started posting about it, I was actually surprised and happy that all the feedback I've gotten from Montana members And I think we'll have a good turnout for the first wave. And then I'm sure there's going to be some sitting back waiting to see. But I've even had guys reach out from out of state that have seen me posting on LinkedIn and that want to join from out of state. And we're welcoming everybody with open arms.
Sure. I'm sure Kelly will be there too. I think he's only a member of like 26 other
Well,
associations.
he is our one of our he's a advisory board member, of course.
Advisory board member. There you
Yes.
go.
So he's already in it.
Sure.
So,
Another notch on his belt.
oh yeah, but I make him earn it. I bend his ear quite a bit. So,
Oh, Kelly's the best.
oh, great guy.
He's been so supportive to me in my own career,
Yeah.
both as a friend and as a um, just somebody in the industry to professional to pick.
Right.
I call Kelly all the time. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't honestly. I don't understand how the guy has time to get work done. He's probably
It's amazing.
calling him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so-
I'm looking forward to the Texas Association in
Yep.
September. I'll be
Yep. Yep.
going there, and I'm looking really forward to seeing him
Yeah.
and meeting the Texas president again, which I met him down in Florida,
Yep.
and just getting a bunch of guys together, and
Yep. Santa
hopefully
Cruz is
next
great.
year we can get some people up here.
Yeah, I'll be at that one too.
Oh, good.
Missed the last two Texas conferences, but I'm planning to go to this one, so I should be there too.
Nice.
Would be great, right? You can tell me Longmire stories over a beer.
Oh, we've got some crazy Montana stories, what goes on up here, but I'm sure every state has their stories, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's we're really looking forward to it. We think we're going to get a good push in the state licensing board. We've met with them already. They came and had a meeting with me and a couple of the board members I have, and they're excited because they don't, like, the one lady was like, I don't know what private investigators do. And so she was very excited and really open to our ideas and some of our suggestions. And I know last year there was a push, and another catalyst to this was the state was thinking about getting rid of the licensing.
Mhm.
And there was a big push to stop that from happening. So thank God they didn't get rid of it, and we still have licensing. And we actually want to tweak it and make it a little bit better even. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, and we talked offline about this a little bit. So that one of the things is continuing education, right?
Yep.
You have it or not have it. Some states do, some states don't. My state doesn't. I wish they did. But then there are plenty of folks out there that aren't crazy about it.
Right.
For them to do, right? They don't want to renew. They don't want to, have to be required to do any additional education. But I think it's important to learn, the new trends that are out there and how to get in front of things, right? So
100%. Again, when I said I'm big on training, and I think you can always learn more. You never know everything. And as you just said, the trends change nationally. And to stay at top and if you want to work for law firms, you got to show that you're not just the old guy that knows the old stuff. You got to get with the AI now. I mean, that's changing almost weekly, AI and all that. And you got to stay on top of all that. And yeah, we're already running into some of Montana used to have continuing, and they got rid of it. And we brought it up about bringing it back, but there's already some people not wanting it, and it's going to be a discussion and a vote probably we'll have to have on it to see if we can push it, because I'd like to see it to where we have it. I don't think we have to have a crazy amount of hours, but I think we should have some, and that's why we have a yearly conference.
Yep.
And you can wrap it all up at the yearly conference.
yeah, I mean, you definitely I think it leads to just having a better work product,
Right.
making sure people are educated on how to do this profession, because you do run into that. So one of the problems we have in New York without having the continuing education is law enforcement, when they retire, their work experience pretty much qualifies them to have the right to take the license
Yep.
or take the test to get the license, right? So you've got people that are starting businesses and have no real work experience other than their law enforcement career. And if you're doing private work, it's different. It just is. The way you look at things is different. It's not a matter of was a crime committed. You start talking about negligence and who's responsible for what, and it's just a different way of looking at things. Nobody teaches somebody who has a 20-year law enforcement career on how to run a business, right? How to balance a checkbook, how to, make sure that all your bills get paid. Like nobody coaches you on what your rates should be, how you're charging things, whether or not you need to charge sales tax and how do you pay that sales tax and things like that. Like these are all things in New York nobody does because there's no continuing education. You don't do it. Our state association, we try and do that. We reach out to people and say, hey, we're here, we're available for you. But knowing that there are about 2,400 licensed private investigators in the state of New York, which you think there would be more. There used to be a lot more, but now we're down to about 2,400. And we have a little over 200 members in our state association, right?
Wow.
So, yeah. And like, to me, that's inexcusable,
Right.
and it's like, well, why aren't they joining? Well, there's no continuing education requirement. What else can we offer them? The idea of networking and coverage, that's one thing that I think is great. I use investigators all over the state, rather than send my own team out. We don't do that 5-hour drive. They're not paying us to drive 5 hours.
Right.
They'll pay us to do 3 hours worth of work. If it takes us 13, that's our problem,
Right.
So, you have to do that. And the way you do that is, being a part of a state association, you network and you make those contacts. So, being able to get the word out there and just understand that there are other investigators out there. I think part of the problem in New York that we have is that, we send out mailers, we try and contact people that are starting businesses, but we're not making that face to face. They're not really seeing the real value in it. And there's always a better way to do it. So yes, it's been around 75 years, plus, but we can always do things better and have more members. I think in the 20 years now I've been on the board, I don't think there's been more than 300 members on the association.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's crazy. And as webinars and things like that become available, you would think people would gravitate to joining and seeing the value, but we're not really seeing it. Even like in-person meetings, people are rarely showing up for in-person meetings anymore, which,
Well, and that's shocking. Maybe I'm a different breed, but I just want the training. Like I enjoy going. I just started going to the conferences last year and this year, and I'm actually disappointed in myself that I didn't do it earlier.
yeah,
Because what you learn at these conferences is amazing. And, you hear guys, well, I don't want, people taking my knowledge and getting business from me. There's 10 times more attorneys than there are private investigators. Plenty of work out there.
yeah,
And
it's a terrible excuse.
I know, I
Almost
know.
clients, you've built your relationships. People are hiring you and your team because of how you do your work,
Right,
the quality of work that you do, not because you have the secret sauce for something.
right, right. And
Always
and
crack me up.
if you got a good reputation and you do good work, you're going to get work. There's plenty of attorneys out there. There's plenty of cheating spouses. There's a ton of child custody cases. You can work a lot of stuff out there. But yeah, I really encourage guys to, even though we don't require it anymore, to get training in. I do like Kelly Riddle's training, his online that he offers. I
Yeah,
take those courses.
sure. Yeah, and they're a sponsor of this program. It's a PI
Right.
for education. It's a fantastic resource. If you're newer to the industry or you feel like you're stuck and you need to like grow a little bit, like these are
Right.
classes that are very inexpensive, that can be real game changers for your business, and
Yeah, the ROI on that is tremendous. And you can advertise that now in your social media. Hey, like I took his nursing home investigative course and got his book and all that. And now I push that. And, and I think attorneys like to see that you're upping your CV and what training and what you've done since you got out of law enforcement. Because
Yeah.
we have the same requirement here. If you were a cop here for more than 5 years, I think it is, you can just sign, pay the fee, take the quick test, and it's about the only way to be a private investigator in the state of Montana is
Yeah.
you can get it with some college and that, but it's got to be ex-law enforcement
Yeah.
normally.
So what we do in New York is if you're not ex law enforcement, you have to work for an investigation
Yep.
company for
Same
900
here.
hours,
Yeah.
equates to about 3 years. So,
Yeah.
or I'm sorry, 900. I said 9,000. I've been 900. So, yeah, it's a journey. It definitely is. And, you're trying to get people to understand that, this is how you get better.
Right.
You network, right? And,
Right.
um, the benefits of it, it's worth the investment for sure. Um, yeah, it's just weird, like seeing the trends and all that. Again, being at this as long as I have, just seen that push. There's another association here in New York, which is fantastic. The Society of Professional Investigators. A guy named Mike Graziano. If you're listening to this online, that's a great one to check out because of the free webinars. They do it monthly. They're having somebody come in and doing a teaching on a topical subject on how to do things, right? And you're either learning how to do it or who to contact if you need something done. Like they did
Right.
one recently, a guy, Don Rettel, who I did a podcast with earlier in the year. I had met him in Colorado at their state association. I'd gotten asked to speak there. And when I was there, Don was presenting as well. He does use of force, right? So these like, active shooter cases or any criminal case that involves a shooting, like Don's the guy. Like he understands the mechanics behind all that stuff. And he came in and he talked about it. He said, "Yeah, this is what you got to look for. This is what you do, and I'm here as a resource if you have any questions. And Don can get paid for it. You know,
Right.
there's no extra this and that. It's, hey, I'm sharing my expertise and what I do with my community, right?
Right.
For me, it's personal injury cases. I've made my, like my career on that stuff. Like I understand that the ins and outs of all that on the plaintiff side. I could talk to you for days about all that stuff, and my journey has been interesting the last 10 years or so with the investigators toolbox, with this podcast, and kind of growing out my exposure, being from uh, an investigator who had no law enforcement experience, having a small investigation company to like a mid-sized company, and now with a lot of exposure and kind of getting on the national stage, what that is like. And those are the types of things that I talk about when I go to conferences. People ask me to talk. It's always the trends and the new things, the AI. I've done a whole bunch of stuff on that. I'm about to moderate a panel actually for NCISS for their 50th anniversary in August in Nashville, which, again, that's going to be a great one if you could get down. The content that we have packed up for that one is pretty awesome. So I'm doing a roundtable with Jay Marin, Paul Ciccarella, Justin Hodson, and we're talking about trends of the industry. Rob Freed's going to be a part of that too. Rob's a fantastic resource for like cell phone um, forensics. That's kind of he's written books on it. And again, just a great guy. He's been a guest a few times on the show. But that's what you get when you're a part of an association. You get exposure to people in the industry that are going to make you better. They're essentially going to elevate you. Um, and like the importance of that, even in a state where there are only 214 licensed investigators, like there's benefits behind it, right?
Right. And, not only is it going to make you a better investigator, but it's also going to improve our profession and what people think of our profession. And, getting away from the old school of, the cop that got like on TV, ran out of law enforcement.
Right, yeah.
And, no, we're professionals. We carry ourselves professional and we take our job serious. And whether you're working for the defense or, personal injury or whatever you're doing, family law, the network, I mean, it's improved my business just meeting these people and networking outside and going to these other associations. I'm
Sure.
part of CII and now, and then the Fraternal Order of Investigators, and then the big three I've joined, and then now I've got MT, and I'm looking to join NCISS and all them. You just got to do it little by little. You can't join them all at
Look at you,
once.
Junior Kelly Riddle. Look at
Oh,
you.
I know. I know. I'm going crazy with it. But that's why I'm trying to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I got to concentrate on Montana's and get that up and running. But I wanted to get those connections and learn from these guys, and they've done it.
Yeah.
And I've been meaning to bend your ear about yours because I know you're on several boards there in New York and that. So
Yeah, and stepping into the national spotlight, it's a big deal in our industry, right? I put it off for many years. When you were saying earlier, why didn't I do this earlier? I was kind of the same way, right? So being a smaller shop before I got bigger, my whole rationale was I don't want to take the time off because if I'm taking the time off, I'm not working, right? If I'm not working, I'm not earning. So this, the cost for me to get out there is essentially double, right?
yeah,
My airfare, my hotel, the 3 days that I'm there, at or however long it is, and then on top of that, the 3 days I'm not working and billing anything, right?
right,
On top of it, I just never really could get over that hump.
right,
But then when I started getting a little bit bigger and hiring people, and wasn't such a big deal for me to be away, for that long. The fact that I can do anything remotely now too, which is fantastic, right? Talking about
boy, yeah,
cross tracks and being able to have case management from virtually anywhere. That's been a game changer for me. But you really, that's when you take the steps. Like you're able to say yes, right? The phone call I was referenced earlier today about someone with a project nationally. I can handle it. I can
right,
handle it because I have relationships with people.
right,
She rattled off, I don't know, 6 or 7 states. I'm like, yeah, I know people in those states. We can handle it.
right,
No problem. Um,
right.
Whereas in the
Yeah,
past, like I wouldn't even touch it. Say, no, it's not me. I'm not your guy.
right. Yeah, and like with technology now, when I travel, I got my phone, I answer it nonstop. I'm on my laptop at these conferences and at night in the hotel working on cases. So yeah, it's tough to get away sometimes, but if you want to, if you want to stay small, so be it. But if you want to expand your business, you need to start looking outside and getting the networking and the education.
Excuse me. Yep. So I'm gonna say one thing before we wrap things up. I'm gonna say it to the Montana investigator who's not a part of the new association here yet, and has not stepped out into the spotlight. The one thing I'm gonna tell that person is definitely get involved and learn your craft, not so much on the field. Learn the desktop side of things, right? There's such a need right now in our industry for people that are really good at desktop research that can be done literally from anywhere. You could be have a full caseload of work that is not in Montana if you know how to do research, if you know where to look for things, if you know how to source information, if you understand how to write a report. If you can excel in those areas, you're going to find investigators from throughout the country that are going to hire you to do that type of work. And you're going to have a good caseload. You're going to make a good amount of money. And your overhead's going to remain whatever your overhead is, wherever you live. Because I can tell you, your overhead in Montana is not the overhead in New York City.
Right.
So, but an investigator in New York City can pay an investigator in Montana to do research. The investigator in Montana will be very happy at the amount of money they make doing research, and the investigator in New York will then take that number and mark it up to a point where they're now going to be making money and they're going to be making a living on it. Everybody wins.
Right.
That's the formula. That's how people that live in rural areas like that, that's the missing piece of the puzzle, right? Do your
Right.
field work, make your 5-hour drive when you need to make a new drive. If they're paying you, do that, but learn how to do desktop research. You will take your business to the next level, because I cannot tell you how many investigation companies out there are looking for people that know how to do research. It's one of the hardest things to find. And when you find a good researcher, you hold on to that person.
Right.
It doesn't matter where they live. They
Yeah.
understand how to do it.
Yeah. As long as they got internet connection
Yeah.
and they know what they're doing. Yeah.
So that's my private message to the Montanians that are out there. If I said that correctly, the investigators out there, become the very best at your craft when it comes to desktop research, and you will have a great career, and you'll be setting your own hours and working at your own pace and enjoying, big country, the big sky country. That's why you're out there. That's why you want to be.
That's right.
Love. You can.
Well, and we just want to connect them all. And I want to make sure that we all have that everybody in Montana, the investigators, have access to a wide range of, knowledge in that, like having Kelly come in and speak, having guys like you come in and speak, whether it is a webinar or at a conference or something. I'm just super excited to expose some of the investigators who never had that, to see that.
Yeah. And, you'll see also on this podcast episode, Mike and I we're talking about for the Investigators Toolbox, a really great deal for Montana investigators that are interested. If you are a member of the state association, that you can essentially get a 2-for-1 to get into Toolbox. So look at the show notes for that information, and we'll talk about it on the post credit wrap up here. So Mike, how do folks get a hold of you if they have any questions?
You can reach out to me via the MTally email, which is info@mtally.org, MTALI.org, info. And then, or my PI business, Toth, TOTH, at elitepimt.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on and talking about your journey here, and look forward to checking it out. And I want to just say thank you to everybody for tuning in and checking out the episode. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out the MTally website. A link is in the show notes. Join the association and get 1 year free membership of Investigators Toolbox. Thanks to 4 Pillars and OREP for sponsoring our podcast. Additional thanks to PI Institute of Education. And also don't forget about investigatorstoolbox.com, where you can type in Perspectives 50 to save $50 when you join. Please also follow Matt and Satellite Investigations at LinkedIn. If you have a question or comment about the show, email Matt at matthews@satellitepi.com. You can also find him on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. We'd like your feedback to bring you the best shows possible. Until next time, make sure you tune in. Stay safe out there.